I'm Taylor.
And I'm Courtney.
Welcome to the Tsunami
Summer Show.
Hey guys, so for today's Can You, we're gonna be seeing if you can popsicle some of my favorite foods.
Can you popsicle it?
Can you popsicle it? So, we're just gonna start with kind of some classics. And we have, first we have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich popsicle. So we're gonna go ahead.
Okay, pop it out.
I don't,
Oh.
that looks pretty good.
It's pretty cute. Look
doesn't
at
really
it.
look
It's like
like
a little
popsicle.
tower of PB&J, and it is frozen.
It doesn't really look
it's
like
like an
popsicle.
Uncrustable, guys. That's exactly what it is. It's an Uncrustable.
Well, there's a whole lot of peanut butter
I
on
might
here.
choke to death.
And just side note, if you're allergic to peanut butter, don't eat this at home.
Right.
Okay, for
Words of
obvious
wisdom.
reasons, because that's not safe.
I'm gonna
Here we
try
go,
it.
ready?
3,
2, 1, go. Oh yeah.
Oh,
You can popsicle.
totally.
You can popsicle peanut butter and jelly all day.
Popsicle it, guys. It's delicious.
If you're at home and you're bored, you need to try this because I'm gonna eat this whole thing. Let's just watch me eat this because it tastes good.
I'm not gonna eat the whole thing.
No. Number 2. And classic cereal.
Cereal.
Cereal,
With
which
milk.
you know, it's milk. Cereal. I went with Trix
Okay.
because
Trix are for kids,
It's one of my
right?
favorites. Ooh.
Oh, look at that, guys.
Ooh.
It is like an actual cute little, I don't know if you can you see this? It's so cute.
This is
I
awesome.
love it.
If you went to like a party, a fancy party,
Or
cereal
like a
party,
slumber party, you can
yeah.
eat this for breakfast.
All right.
Come on, will it popsicle? Are you gonna eat it from the bottom or the top?
I'm gonna try the top because I see cereal.
But you lick popsicles.
That milk is really hard.
Yeah.
Makes it hard to eat. The Trix are
Tastes like bubble gum.
really mushy feeling in your mouth.
Yeah.
Don't really enjoy that feeling.
No.
No. But the flavor's there. Yes,
The
it
flavor's
tastes like
not
it
there.
tastes like cereal.
Maybe I just don't like Trix.
That's probably it.
Ew.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Tastes like bubble gum.
All right, so this
like
makes
frozen, nasty, milky bubble gum.
this makes a better bouquet for your table.
Better just
Display it than to eat it.
I mean-
So next we have another classic which you might love or you might hate. I don't even know what word I was saying.
Hate.
I thought it'd be awesome to try salad. So we got some lettuce and a
What?
bunch of Italian dressing, which so healthy. If you want to be healthier, I'm sure the Italian dressing.
But just,
It kind of looks like green tea.
It looks like chewed up salad is what it looks like. That's disgusting looking.
It smells good. It smells good. It smells like Italian dressing.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
No croutons. Oh, no.
Woo, that's zesty. Woo. That'll clean out the sinuses. Woo.
Oh,
Straight vinegar.
it's like drinking Italian dressing. Absolutely.
Oh.
But I'm weird and I enjoy it for some reason.
I mean, I prefer it over the Fruity Pebbles, if that's anything.
Lastly is my favorite snack.
Oh, what do we have here?
We have Cool Ranch Doritos.
We did not talk about Taylor's creative popsicles beforehand.
Yes.
So I did not consent to eating this nastiness.
So these are my favorite snack. This is Cool Ranch Doritos, mashed up, and I had to put a little water in there to make it a popsicle.
It smells like a Cool Ranch Dorito. It's really cold. My hands hurt from holding it.
So we're just gonna go for it.
You always bite yours from the top. I like it from the bottom. I don't know. It's just better
Like
that
when
way.
you eat a muffin, you're supposed to eat it from
But a popsicle's like, fat on the bottom usually and
No,
like short
no.
on the top. Totally.
Oh, no. No.
This is the worst thing I have ever tried in my entire life.
I was excited about this because it smells good.
The texture is like someone's chewed up food that you're.
It's like a hard taco that's been sitting out for a week and all soggy and nasty, but there's no flavor either.
Yeah,
all of a sudden the flavor's
It's
gone.
gone. It's gone. It's really disgusting. Actually, like really disgusting. Kind of makes me.
So guys, overall, what we learned today from Can You is yes, maybe make some peanut butter and jelly popsicles.
Yes, Uncrustables. An easy way to eat lunch.
Yep.
It's a great idea.
Maybe eat regular popsicles that you buy from the store.
Yeah.
But besides that, don't do it.
Yeah, just don't do it.
No,
It's a waste
it's
of
not
time.
worth it.
I mean, they're like bricks. I could throw it at Taylor.
Please don't do that.
Ooh, what if I just rub these on his face?
We'll see you next time, guys. Bye. All right, guys, so today we're gonna have a conversation about disappointment, and we have one of our awesome volunteers here with us. Wanna introduce yourself real quick?
Silivia.
Silivia Johnson, and she is awesome. She leads a 7th grade. Oh,
My girls are going to 8th grade.
sorry.
Wow.
I
Sorry,
need to be
girls.
corrected.
She didn't
It's
mean
summertime.
that.
Tsunami summer.
already
I know, I know.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Time flies.
It does.
But we love her, and we're glad she's here. And I have to ask you a really important question before we get started.
This is the surprise
This
question.
is a surprise question. What do you think of our wonderful set?
Well, other than the dog, which I don't know why he's here. With the flamingo. I mean,
Right,
I completely get the flamingo,
Sure,
but I don't
sure.
know why he's here.
Oh, yeah,
And
I mean-
he's staring.
At you?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's
so-
troubling me.
Okay.
Pugs
Because
are like
I
that.
want to pet
Yeah.
him, but he looks so troubled. He really wants to go home. It's hot.
Yes.
But the set is wonderful. I feel very tropical.
Good, good. Our,
Yeah, I
our
feel
whole
summer.
idea was just to take you into summertime.
Make you feel comfortable.
But,
Right.
but I'm wearing camouflage, so
But
it's
that's
kind of
okay.
like, okay.
You blend in with the pug, don't worry. It's fine.
All right, so today, like we said, we're gonna be talking about disappointment a little bit. So take a hard turn there from inflatables to disappointment. But we just want to get kind of Silivia's input and start a conversation about it. So, Silivia,
Yes, Taylor.
question 1.
Question number 1.
Dun, dun, dun.
What's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of the word disappointment?
Well, in this space, I'm going to talk about a time that I visited my aunt in South Carolina, my mom's sister. This is really, she would kill me if she knew I was going to say this. But I discovered during that time that she did not know how, I mean, I grew up Southern, so she did not know how to make grits. And it was breakfast time. And
Grits are an
this is
important
really
staple.
lighthearted, so I don't want you to be disappointed that my first thought of disappointment was this particular incident. Of course, there are many things, but I just really have to say this one. And so she made grits, and they were lumpy. And I remember thinking, I really wish I had not come here for the summer. So I didn't enjoy the grits. That may seem ungrateful. So then she said, well, if you want to have cereal, you can have cereal. So I thought, great, we have cereal. And she had Kellogg's, which was my favorite cereal. Tony the Tiger. And so, but then she didn't have any milk. And I just remember that being extremely disappointing because she says, well, why don't you just put water in them?
That's just
I'm
not the
embarrassed.
same.
But really, and I don't even think my mom knows this about my Aunt Gail. Her name is Gail. Sorry, Aunt Gail. But I'll never forget how disappointing that moment was because I was probably about 9, and it was just the worst. It was like, this is breakfast.
It was
That
a
disappointing.
double
It was
disappointment.
a double disappointment.
Wow.
Lumpy grits and watery cereal.
And watery cereal, yes. I mean, I think I survived the week that I was there with her. I'm here, but seriously, when I really think of disappointment, I think of middle school, when you first discover that friends really aren't what they pretend to be. And I think that that's probably one of the biggest disappointments I'd ever discovered in middle school. I had a friend in 7th grade who betrayed me. I'd gone through a real troubling time as a young girl in middle school, and this person made a promise that they couldn't keep. And in my young mind at the time, it was very devastating. And it still stays with me today that I was put in a very precarious situation that person was not able to come and rescue me from. And it really was, it was a stranger, literally, that ministered to me in that moment. Someone that was not a person that I probably would have approached, because it would have been like stranger danger if you'd seen the appearance of this person. But that was the first time. It was something that gentleman said to me. He says, "Where's your friend? They're not here. They're not coming." And it was just the silence behind that. And that was when I realized that I had been set up to believe that this person was really genuinely loved me, and it was just like the lights went out.
You said something that I feel like is really important. I think a lot of times we experience disappointment when we think promises aren't fulfilled.
Right.
You know, I mean, we hope that things are fulfilled, whether that's from a friend or a parent or a teacher or whoever, your small group leader. I mean, we all can cause disappointment in others' lives.
That's
We've
right.
been on that side,
That's right.
but we've also been on the side of receiving it and what that feels like.
And I think in my mind at the time as a 7th grader, I was 12 in 7th grade, so I was a little younger. But at that time, I had not grown to that place and understand that I was capable of disappointing, in as much as I was disappointed. But disappointment can be devastating until you come to realize that that's a byproduct of just being human. You really can't keep promises.
I think it's a unique time to be talking about this. Like, we're in a season that's full of disappointment because of where our country is, because of the virus and everything that's going, like it's, and especially for students, like, because there's traditions built into going to school and graduating to a new grade and things to look forward to, and then...
I mean, Tsunami every Wednesday night.
Yes.
I mean, let's be honest.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden things change.
Exactly.
And we're disappointed.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it is out of our control
Yes.
a lot of times.
Out of our control, and it happens without prediction. Like, you can't see it coming. You're like, whoa, out of nowhere.
My husband, who is very comical, makes these posts sometimes on his social media pages. I always have to watch and make sure, like, is this safe? But I just said this to him yesterday because the last post that he made about 2020, when I do get a chance to see them, because half the time I'm like paying attention to everything else, and I'm like, I'm not following your Facebook page. I'm not one of your followers. He's like, oh, you should see what I posted. But he posted this person going down the street riding a bike, and they're toppled over the top. I mean, so you can see that they've fallen over the bike and they're tumbling, and they hadn't hit the pavement yet. But he says, this is when you're riding a bike on a sunshiny day, and then 2020 hits you.
Yes.
All of a
Yes.
sudden, the screeching stop,
Yes.
you're toppling over the handlebars. And for those of us who love to ride bikes, we understand what that's like.
Been there, done that.
It just ruins just disrupts your whole flow.
Breaks a finger, you know.
And we know about what's in motion stays in motion. What is it?
Objects in motion tend to stay
Objects
in
in
motion.
motion tend to stay in motion.
Right?
Just edit that
Guys,
part.
that's a little science for you.
Science
right there.
lesson in the midst of disappointment.
Yeah.
Cool. So I guess in talking about disappointment and where we're at and everything, everything you've shared, how do you think God wants us to handle disappointment? Especially as
question.
students.
Yeah. I mean, I think
It's
I feel
everyone.
like we're
It's
right,
everyone.
and I feel like we're learning how to do that. There's not like, oh, I'm an arrived professional at handling disappointment. We're all in the process of that. But what does that look like?
It looks like growth, believe it or not. It's like when you plant a flower and you hadn't seen it come out of the ground yet, but something's going on down there.
Yes.
And you're watering it, and you're like coping with disappointment and saying, at what point does this turn? Does this get better? And then eventually you get a sprout. So there's growth in disappointment. You learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about God, especially because it's in those times that we are weak and disappointed that He shows Himself to be stronger. And I think that's what can come out of disappointment. I know that is what happened for me. It sort of propelled me toward the light. It propelled me toward really accepting the Lord as my Savior at 13, because I had such a devastating experience from being disappointed, from being let down. And then it was so easy to see the light in the darkness, and it was,
Yeah.
you move towards the light.
Yeah.
So I grew in a space that I didn't think would look like growth.
It's good.
Something you said about disappointment, about the work first happens like under the surface. Because I think sometimes when we're in a moment of disappointment, we have to go to God, and He has to do stuff under the surface that we're not going to see yet. Maybe we don't feel better about it yet on the outside, but we trust Him that He can actually like heal our souls and restore us, like in the secret, behind the scenes, not like out in front of everybody else, but like it's those quiet spaces where I feel like God promises to heal us when we're broken. So.
And to speak to that a little bit, is some of us, we're really good at hiding our disappointment, right? Like we get disappointed, but we've learned to just act like everything's okay. And so, but inside we're still disappointed. And so there has to be something that's happening within us to then maybe change that response. Because that's what most of the time, when people see that we're disappointed, it's just a response to what we're feeling.
Well, I think too, it's accepting that being disappointed is okay, that it's a process of life. It's just like you wake up and if you've ever heard someone say that you should put on happy or put on joy, like you put on a shirt, it's intentional. You have to intentionally believe that being disappointed is a process of life, that you're not weird, you're not strange. Pastor Mike says people are weird. Well, yeah, we're all weird, but that's normal. It's normal to have disappointments, and there are some disappointments greater than others. I mean, like I mentioned my aunt, that was a disappointment, which to a 15-year-old, that's like no big deal. You could have eaten no cereal without water. I eat cereal dry all the time now. But to a 9-year-old or an 8-year-old who is stuck in South Carolina with her aunt who does not know how to make grits, and she's used to, that was a big deal to me. So there are different levels of disappointment, and they're not applicable to each situation, because I disappoint myself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a good thing that we hadn't talked about.
So disappointment is kind of a normal thing. It's a process.
Disappointment often has to do with being a failure, like either on our part or someone else's part. And we don't like to fail. Like we like to have it all nice and tidy, put together, tied up in a bow, but sometimes we fail. And that sometimes disappoints our parents.
Yeah.
Sometimes it disappoints us when we get that bad grade on the test. But it's not the end. I think that's one thing that God is really clear about, is that He is the author of redemption and restoration, like making things new and better even when they're broken. So when we look at disappointment, if we see that as like the end point, like, oh, I failed and it's never gonna get better, that's a really hard lens to walk through life with, because I feel like God's lens for disappointment is very different than that.
It's very different.
Yeah.
And it's funny you should say that, because I was really thinking about this last night in totality, that the success rate that we have is measured by whom? And it depends on who's measuring that success rate, which I believe disappointment comes out of who is measuring your success rate.
Right.
But like the rate of success should be measured to what God said it is. It's love. And if you are thriving in love, then that equals success. And you have a lesser chance that you will experience disappointment as often.
Yeah, it's great. It's really good.
Well, thank you, Silivia, so much for joining us today to have a conversation.
Hanging out with us for
Thank
Tsunami
you.
Summer Show.
Yes,
I mean,
with the
beautiful
With the
inflatables.
pug.
Everyone loves a giant inflatable hot dog, right?
Oh yes.
Anyways, well, we're glad you're here.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for having me. Hey to my group. Hi girls, I miss you very
Awesome.
much.
Cool. Tsunami out. So thanks, friends, for joining us for the Tsunami Summer Show.
Yes, and the show is over, but we still have something for you guys to do this week. In the little something we like to call Grow on Your Own, which is really just a fancy way of saying we want to give you guys something to do and think about. So we have a scripture verse for you guys and a few questions that will just kind of help you process this conversation and what God says about it.
So screenshot it, keep it, think about it, you know, do all the things, and then we'll see you back here next week. Tsunami out.